always looked up. For centuries, we wondered what was on the other side of the sky, and we have begun to answer that question. We have learned that all the exploration humankind has achieved is only a beginning. Right now, men and women are working on the next steps to go farther than we have ever gone before. New vessels will carry us, and new destinations await us. Everything we have ever accomplished leads to this moment in time, where exploration will now take us to the planets and the stars. Our nearest neighbors in the night sky have beckoned us, invited us, dared us to reach for them. We are the explorers. Throughout our history, we have taken both small steps and giant leaps in that pursuit. Our next destination awaits. We don't know what new discoveries lie ahead, but this is the very reason we must go.
Hey guys, so it is time for space science class from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. That's right, I'm at Kennedy Space Center. You can tell because behind me, right up there, that is a lunar module. And then if you look above me, check that out, that is one of the motors from one of the stages of a Saturn V rocket that happens to be hanging from the ceiling directly above me. Right above me there is a fuel tank inside the first stage of a Saturn V rocket. That's right, this is an actual Saturn V rocket. You can see it stretching into the distance there behind me. And then over here behind me this way, same thing. Yeah, let's look at this rocket in a little more detail. So behind me is the CSM, Command and Service Module. You can see the capsule in the front, the service module. And then behind me over here is a mock-up, the capsule that would bring the astronauts back to Earth. But let's take a little bit closer look at these things. So I'm looking at the front, or the top, I should say, of the Saturn V, looking back down into the building. It's a massive building. Now looking at the CSM again, and the Saturn V above it. Now I'm walking through the actual catwalk where Apollo 11 astronauts walked to get onto the Apollo 11 Saturn V launch vehicle. Into the White Room, and then of course back out. And then here's a mock-up of the 3 astronauts before launch. The scale of this thing is just unbelievable. Behind me, of course, again is the CSM, but look at the rocket. It's just unbelievably huge. Walking back by the lunar lander again.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The next presentation.
And over here is a lunar rover vehicle. They're not really that big. They didn't need a big one on the moon. Just needed to move them around the moon. Looks like it has old style lawn chairs for seats. Another view of the rover, its antenna for communications. Down here in the hubs, it had electric motors built directly into the hubs. So that's right, this is an electric vehicle, and it was on the moon. There are actually 3 of these on the moon, 3 electric vehicles on the moon. But unfortunately nowhere to plug them in unless you have a solar panel. But that's pretty cool that the first vehicles on the moon were electric. Okay, now I'm walking under the second stage engine assembly. Look at that. Good Lord. Massive engines. All right, so now I'm going to walk under the first stage, the largest piece of the rocket, and it's going to start appearing above me. Let's see how long it takes for me to walk all the way to the engine end of the first stage of a Saturn V rocket. It's a pretty big ship. And this is, by the way, an actual real Saturn V rocket that was never launched. Still going. All right, here we go. There's the engines. That is a really big rocket. Now, just think for a minute how many millions of horsepower would have dumped out of these rockets during launch. I don't even know that number. We can look it up in class. But it's unbelievable. This is still to this day the largest and most powerful rocket ever built. And I'm sure that is what this guy's telling this group of school children. Just like you, but these guys are actually here. Ha ha. Sorry guys, but you really need to come and visit. This is an incredible experience that everyone from everywhere on Earth needs to experience. It is just incredible what we can do when we put our minds to it. Humans are amazing creatures, and you can do whatever you set your mind to. This is proof of that. You guys did a great job with this. It's amazing.
And it hasn't been touched.
Really?
All the burn marks on the bottom are still there. They didn't refurbish it in any way whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
So it's just the way she came home is the way she stayed.
Ah. Hey guys, so you'll never believe where I'm standing right now, but over here behind me is the Space Shuttle Atlantis. It's like the Space Shuttle Atlantis. This is not a mock-up. This is the real thing, exactly as it came back from space. It's not been cleaned or touched in any way. It's covered in burns and scarring and charring from all the miles that it flew in space, millions of miles, by the way. And then over here behind me to the other side is a mock-up of the Hubble telescope. Let's go check these things out. So behind me is Atlantis from the engine side of the craft. Look at the size of those exhaust nozzles. This was a really big ship that had a very important job to do. All right, so right behind me there is a SpaceX Dragon capsule. And this is one of the last things we're gonna see. I'm gonna walk through this little area and then it's the end of the tour. Sorry guys, but you know, if you wanna check this out, you really need to come down here yourself. It is amazing, it is educational, it's inspiring, it's unbelievably cool. It is so worth it. This is one of the most amazing museum experiences I've ever had. Most amazing educational experiences. And I highly recommend each and every one of you come visit Kennedy Space Center, especially if you can get down here when a launch is about to happen. Now look at that behind me. By the way, this Dragon behind me flew in space. Right over there. It flew in space, went to the International Space Station. That's pretty cool. And this is a little model of the SLS, the Space Launch System. And on top of it will sit a Boeing Starliner. Here's a mock-up of the Starliner. Look at this. All right, guys, so like I said, you need to get yourself down here and tour Kennedy Space Center and try to arrange it when there's a launch happening. And you won't be sorry. This is an incredible place, highly educational, and it fits right in to our lesson in space science. So come take a look. And that's me signing off. I will see you in class in a few days. Okay, so this is a mock-up of a small version of the International Space Station, so let's check it out. A very small version for kids, really, but I don't care. I'm a kid. I've always been a kid. I'm still a kid.
Whoa, we're in the space shuttle!
That's right. You're right, man. It is. It's the space station.
I said that.
Why don't you go ahead? Well, you're coming. I'll go on ahead. There goes some more astronauts. There's a lot of astronauts in here, but I think I'm the oldest, apparently. There they go. I'm gonna let them go across. I don't know, I might be too big for this. I hope I don't fall through the plastic. Come on, guys, go. Hold on just a second. One at a time through here. Yeah, because I'm like way up high above like everything. Space shuttle's up there. It's okay. You can do it.
That's super.
If you're gonna go into space, you gotta do this.
Really?
Yeah, really. Check out the space shuttle. Look at that. Wow.
I'm going over. Oh. He said one at a time.
That was fun.